Welcome to Inner Voice of Knowing podcast. I'm Kaye, a shamanic leadership coach and healer, guiding you through life with a foot in both worlds. When you understand the terrain of the inner landscapes, the mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic, you will become the leader within your physical life, both personally and professionally. After all, the power of change is in your hands. Let's get this journey started. Welcome everybody back to Inner Voice of Knowing. If you can't see me, I've got a great big smile on my face. This beautiful woman reached out to me via my website saying that she'd heard the podcast and would I interview her. And we got onto a very quick Zoom, and I have to tell you, her energy, her beauty internally and externally, and the way that she spoke, she had me hooked in about the first 4 minutes. And I just had to have her on, and you're about to find out why. So I'd like to introduce you listeners to Jessica Bailey, born originally in Nigeria and actually happens to live here in Perth, Western Australia, where I am. Gosh, what a list of accolades. You're about to do your book launch and book signing for not one but two books. You are a highly accomplished coach, speaker, keynote speaker, having had a standing ovation of something like 400 people. You also are a filmmaker and have some awards for the film that you actually produced and made. And I think we're just going to leave the rest to the audience to discover. I feel very aligned with you, Jessica, because you talk about voice. And I'd like to welcome you, but also ask you, from your life in Nigeria, how did you come to be such a powerful speaker, an inspirational speaker, and a speaker that draws out story and the importance of story?
Oh, my meeting you, Kaye, is what I call a gift. And I call it a gift because when, as you said, the first few seconds of you and I talking, it was as if we knew each other. It was, we did not need to spend hours. You know what I mean? We
Absolutely.
just spotted what we're looking for in each other. It was crazy because when the idea of voice came to me, it was about 3 years ago, and I was just, I was running at a park near us, and there was just this thing telling me about a voice, that it is something that I have to represent. And I keep thinking, why am I being told voice? I'm thinking, that voice is singing. Are you talking like voice, like people talking? What are you? It says it's a true voice. It added the true, right, to the voice. It's a true voice. And so there was confusion in me, in my system with this whole thing. And this was like the early stage of me, coming out of my journey of, overcoming the challenges of a Black migrant Australian woman. I have just made the film. I have just written the book. There was a lot of talk on, resonance, people resonating with my story titled I'm Not a Nurse. And, I was wanting to head off to go make another film. And, then bumped into this woman who, all of a sudden started preparing me to become a coach and a speaker and saying, Jess, you got something to give, and people are out there waiting for you to sell. You're not selling. And so in the middle of getting ready to become a coach, I'm getting voice. I'm thinking, what is voice? I remember just having that mentorship, appointment the next day with the lady. I said to her, and this was like my second catch up, in the journey of the mentorship that was supposed to go for like 6 months. I said to her, there is a voice. There's something about voice. It has to be voice. And I keep repeating it. And I started crying. I started telling her what the experience I had at the park and how I was arguing with the voice coming to me. And
oh my gosh, I love that, because so many people have that that juxtaposed position. Were you hearing it or feeling it or both? And was it in you or around you or both?
It was it was more like I was hearing it, but
Yeah.
then I was feeling it. So I hear it and I feel it, and it's like it was coming very raw, very powerful. It said people. The only way it gave it to me as I then was like it said the world aren't using their own voice. He said we are all expressing voice.
Mm-hmm.
Every human being are expressing voice. But the problem humans are facing is they're not expressing their own true voice.
Yes.
And so it became a question of, okay, so there is a voice. We all represent voice. But the question is, what voice are you representing? Is it yours? All right.
Mm.
So over time, Kai, I start to learn, the idea of listening to what's in here. You talk about the inner voice of knowing.
Yes.
I start to pull away from the noise and from people, from the whole jumping around of networking, and I start to realize that there's something inside me that is calling my attention, and I need to listen to it.
So
I
from
need
doing to being.
to being.
Yes.
I need to listen to this. What is it saying? How can I express this and not get people confused that I'm not talking about singing or talking, that I'm actually talking about expression of who we are. And then it become a question of how am I related to this topic again? So for the past 3 years, it's been me trying to uncover how myself as an individual came about this idea of voice, and how is my journey of overcoming the challenges of a Black migrant Australian woman, how is my journey tied to this?
Yes.
And over time, it came to me. My journey has been about silence.
Mm-hmm.
I came with a passion for storytelling. I am an African woman in Australia. Okay, but as soon as I arrived here, everything I see around me was telling me to silence me,
Yeah.
to shut my accent down because it is not presentable, to wear wig on my head because I've got that spongy hair that is not attractive.
So
It was
how old were you when you came from Africa to Australia?
I was 22 and I was married. I came to Australia. Um, I got married to a man almost twice my age. He's Caucasian. And the idea was to provide hope for my family who were back home in Nigeria. And my
Right.
mother, you know, she was a widow. And I got my four younger siblings. My mother suffered, tilled the soil for us. Her suffering, her pain growing up, it was written all over her veins.
Yeah.
And she became my motivation. I could not wait to grow up and set her free.
From the moment you speak, just I get chills, which is always that confirmation and that heightened energy. So this knowing that really struck you very powerfully 3 years ago, where it's a knowing because you hear it, but you feel it whole bodied as well. And sometimes there's the pushback because it's direct or you doesn't quite make sense at the time.
Yes.
Have
Yes.
you always had, I know that was a really strong moment, but do you feel like you've had that most of your life, even through childhood?
Yes, I have. It was funny because I never actually realized how important that question you asked
Yeah.
is. I have been asked that question multiple times in the past, sitting on panels, but I never really answered it exactly as I would to you now.
Okay.
I went on a radio talk the other day, Fremantle Radio Talk, and that was one of the questions. And I think for the first time, I gave it something that I know is true. I have always had that inner knowing
Mm-hmm.
right from, being a child. There was just something. I could just see an image in my head. There was a woman and she's powerful
Yeah.
and she's out there. And although I'm a child now, and although I live in a village right now, but I could tell that there was something more to me. There was something more, and I could not explain it, And throughout my journey, it would come from people as well. They would hint it to me. I would get cherished more than anyone else around me. I
Yeah.
would get looked after. The chosen one, I would call it, very
Yeah.
special, very peculiar. And it followed me through. But then when I came to Australia and going through the whole journey of, following the nursing path, when all I wanted to do is to be in the media space, to tell story, that inner knowing became it became a war between where I was and who I am, what the inner knowing is about.
Mm.
Every day I get up to the nursing studies, I'm like in a prison. My inner knowing and this path that is not me, they were in a fight.
This
In
is
a,
really
in
this
a
is
fight.
really interesting, and I can relate different story, but just sort of that similarity. So the first thing is I've got two questions here for you, Jessica. The first one is, do you feel like that powerful woman, that presence that you felt as the child, do you feel like that's the woman that you are now or still becoming, that it's like that future self?
Oh, I love how you ask questions and I love how you listen. It's really so incredible, Kai. Everything you're asking, I'm just like, oh my God, is she reading me? I am just I'm in the process of developing another book called Unwrapping Me. I realize that we're like onion and we're just continuously taking off the layers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every layer, there is a new one, and there is going to be a new one. This is not the woman, but she's on her way. She's on
Uh-huh.
the path. That is what I can tell you for sure. And she is more powerful than this. This is just one of her versions,
I
Getting
love
there.
that because of the three components that I always speak about with the inner voice of knowing, power and potential, which is the three pillars in that one voice, which is the soul
Yeah,
that
yeah,
overlays, the source that overlays your soul, that overlays that successful self.
yeah,
And I love this because from my shamanic perspective, it's you're integrating her, this powerful presence with this absolute stance of knowing, calling to you. And then the second one is doing the nursing life, right? But feeling still that other calling. I can really relate to that because I had my calling, right? That grabbed me, put me down in my 20s for 20 years. But then I was called to re-enter the workforce, right? In my 40s. And it almost felt soul destroying. Like, what am I doing here? Bullying the whole way and all the rest. So, but that calling. But so my question wrapped up in this is that film, that voice, I'm not a nurse, would not have come to fruition had you not been placed outside of the field in a sense, but still within the field of your
yeah,
purpose to
yeah,
help you fulfill, to bring you to your calling.
yeah, yeah. I love that. My understanding is we first inherit the opposite of the voice we have been born to represent, really.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And that is where, so if you, for example, I suffered silence, and I came out with a voice.
Yes.
And my voice was simply me just expressing all that I am. It's expressing my identity, my myself as an individual, and all of the gifts that I carry inside me that I know is true. Is really about me being me in this place. And that became my voice, and it's very powerful. And that is the opposite of what I suffered. I was shut down, which is a silence. And so we are born with our own voice, but then we inherit the opposite. And then throughout our journey, we're going to battle. The battle is between your inherited voice and the voice you have been born to represent, the voice you carry. And
Yeah.
then so we get into a boxing ring together,
Yes.
and we are to fight. And it is in that fight that we become. It is friction. The idea of the opposition is to give you that friction, the friction of iron sharpened iron. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, I
That is
love
where
how you're framing this.
that's
Really
right.
love how
That-
you're framing this because there is friction, isn't there?
it is.
And that's the friction. If you think of it, it creates a spark that creates a fire that gives us warmth,
Yes,
that gives us
yes,
light. That
yes.
do you feel like your African heritage? Because I imagine story is so powerful. That's how, you know, rites of passage were shared and knowledge and truth were once passed on. Do you feel like your African heritage has part of that seed that's in you about storytelling and voice, more than just speaking information?
Hmm. I I think being an African, as I said, we had stories around us. I mean, not everybody is a storyteller.
Yeah.
We have just been all born with our own gift, and even just being an African isn't why I'm a storyteller.
Uh-huh.
It is just what I am, and being put through those fire. It's just you have been gifted with storytelling. Therefore, you will be put through things that would give you stories to tell.
Yes.
So my journey was just about gaining stories. My father died. My mom threw out of the home, our own home, and she was accused of being responsible for his death. Watching her till the soil day in, day out, just so we could survive 1, 2 square meals a day. Going through that journey, moving into another home
Yeah.
with my uncle, start to steal food for my mother. Do you know what I mean? Got kicked out of home. Then married a man twice my age.
Yeah.
Came here. Passion is not allowed. My passion is not allowed. And the man I married, I'm suffocating here. Domestic violence, all of those things.
Yeah.
Every day, my whole life. I'm only in my 30s, but I sometimes I feel like I've lived multiple times here.
Yeah.
That's what I say. With the amount of stories that has been fed to me. And I wake up today and I say, of course, I'm a storyteller. And a storyteller must, live the story that he or she is here to tell.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like it's really powerful that in that relationship, right, for the most heartfelt reasons, but you ended up coming to Western Australia, the most isolated place in terms of distance,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
from the East Coast. So therefore, it was less multicultural. It's
Hmm.
not like that now than where I grew up on the East Coast in Melbourne, that was so multicultural. Um, all the right places for the right reasons to mold and
That's right.
shape you and sort of cut you into the form of this incredible woman and this voice that you are. I feel like, Jessica, that everyone can tell a story. We've got to learn, as you said, to, get rid of the things. But I feel like when you're saying the storyteller, like you are, is the conscious awareness that you have with your source and your soul and that knowing and the passion for it, therefore the energy that comes within the words that you use. They're not just words, there's all this other energy that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it creates connection and it creates healing and it creates transformation. Would you agree?
That's correct. That
Yeah.
is 100% correct. I didn't know, even I battled with why am I giving this passion? I question it. I'm like, I'm giving this passion. And then I got thrown into a country that does not allow such passion from people like myself. I'm looking around me and I'm thinking, where does anyone work as a storyteller? Gee, I'm just
Yeah.
going, Jesus Christ, what am I going to do? Because I could not see myself doing anything else. But the passion I carry, I've never seen a place where somebody is working as a storyteller. What is this even about? And so I felt so cheap. I felt so like it wasn't fair doing this to me,
Yeah.
whoever did this to me. So all my journey was just crying and trying to work out what have I to do with this. But Kai, I tell you now, today, storytelling for me, for what I know it today, is I could not have imagined anything else, being given anything else. Like all of the things you mentioned, connection, healing, name it. We go through it, and that has just come from such gift that has been gifted to me. And now I'm helping people understand their own stories. So it's not about the passion that was given to you. It's about it is for. And that is what you are not aware yet. And that is
Yeah.
why you abandon it, you trash it, you underlook it. But your power, everything you have come to give to the world, is in that thing that has been gifted to you. It's not anywhere else. Not
Oh,
anywhere.
powerfully said in it. But it also brings me back to that really deepest truth that, we need to also stop feeling like victims and embrace more that, one, we don't have to know how,
Yeah.
but we do need to know that in each moment it is happening for us
Yes.
and eventually embody that it's happening from us and abandon time in the sense of just, this is where the flow comes in, the river over and around the obstacles.
Yeah.
That if you have that aspiration, you have that calling, you have that passion and drive, it's for a reason.
Yes, it
But
is.
everyone seems to want their story to be easy
Mm.
instead of realizing it's the journey that is shaping us.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
call it the journey. Sorry, Kai.
No, no,
I
no, go.
call it I call it school. It's a soul school, really.
Yeah.
All of the sufferings we see as suffering, that is literally the soul going through its school. It's cool to become, to get into the destination of purpose. Every
Yeah.
individual, every soul has chosen a particular portal of pain that is going to transport them into that destination of purpose. And so the whole pain is simply transportation, as simple as that. And this transportation, it was perfectly orchestrated. It
Yes.
was planned, well put together with thoughts. Everything that has been put in our way was to sharpen us. The soul must first suffer what it is here to teach.
Mm-hmm.
That is what makes the soul a great teacher. The soul doesn't come here to go to university to learn what it is here to teach. It must be put through experience. And that gets it ready to become that teacher. That is when we get up and we look back and we start to rewrite the narrative. We start to give it voice.
Yeah.
We become the author. We are with the pen now and we can write truth into where we're coming. That is literally what it is.
Oh, I feel like I need a hallelujah, you know? Just
Oh,
and again, the way you communicate it. And the thing that I noticed with you within the first 5 minutes of when we first connected on Zoom was, and I think I said, okay, stop, don't tell me anymore, but
I know.
here are the reasons that I need you on the program. And one of them is because, which I have a great resonance with Jessica, and I feel that affinity. I feel also the uniqueness of certain words that you'll bring to the table. You know, there's a language and a dialogue that, you know, almost everyone can just sort of follow. But like the way for me, I know things to be different from a lot of the spiritual community, you could say, because I've had my direct experience. So inner voice of knowing, power and potential, and you know, different ways that I phrase things, and the unique words that I use that are unique from
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I heard the same from you. I felt the same from you, which makes it even more powerful from my perspective, rather than being one of hundreds of thousands of people speaking using exactly the same dialogue. And I feel like, and I'd like your opinion on this, I feel like it awakens people a little bit more, because it's like, oh, I know what you're saying, but I heard you speak it differently.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. This is, I just love, I don't know, but of course I should know. You're a spiritual being. The way you interview people, obviously, this is not some shallow, surface level kind of interview, because I have been into, a lot of interviews. And so I know.
Oh, bless.
I just know. I have people who just scratch me off, like scratch the surface. But you're going down, and oh my God, I don't
I
see
don't
that.
know any other way, Jessica. You know,
It's
I don't know
incredible.
any other way.
It's incredible. But this is the thing. This is the question you ask. It's quite important. And this is why, because we have all come with a voice of our own to represent. And even though we are millions and billions of people walking on this planet, no two voices are the same.
Yeah.
No two voices are the same. This is what I say to my coaching clients who are coaches. I say, do not dump your things for ChatGPT to just be writing and dumping things for you and just using words. You are a powerful being. You have your own voice. You have your own words. These
Yeah.
words are spiritual. They are gift to you. And so if you just surrender to your being and just embody, you would be bringing out powerful things that no one else has. No one else, absolutely no one else, because you're going to be coming from your source. You're going to be coming from a deeper place. And that is when all of a sudden, even though millions of people have been teaching success or been teaching who we are or authenticity for so many years, all of a sudden you come out with this unique way of saying it, unique perspective, unique voice. It hit differently. It does. It lands somewhere deeper. It gives goosebumps. That is where you are talking from a deep place, not shallow. I took my time to really surrender to me and to not jump around and look for words that other people are using to
Yeah.
sell their stuff. I took my time to connect with my source and I say, okay, let's do this. Let's drop things. Let's speak from the root. And I tell you what, it's been incredible since then. I get up on stage and people say, Jessica, you have somebody else with you. There was Jesus with you. God was with you on the stage. We saw it. This is where you get these kind of things. People get
Yeah.
tears. People get hit differently. Goosebumps when you talk because you are a soul. You are not, the body is just a flesh, a
Mm-hmm.
container. There is something deep inside that the body is housing. When you surrender to it,
Two
lightning
questions.
happens.
It seems that when you speak, I grab two questions, right? So the first one, because this is really important for the listeners, because I understand, I'm sitting there with you, sister, right? Soul to soul. Um, that word authenticity is so bounced around now, right? And it's almost like it's giving people permission to behave however they want. I'm just being authentic to who I am, right? Kick the dirt, authenticity. I feel like the kind of authenticity that I'd like the listeners to really understand is what you're talking about as well, which is the expression of the soul, the language of your soul, because we're all imprinted differently,
Yeah.
right? Different
Yeah.
images and things relate to the soul and its language.
Yeah.
So do words. So to
Yeah.
me, when I speak of authenticity, it's not that surface, human sort of level and I'm just being authentically me. It's what I feel like you're talking about, moving all that aside, peeling all of that away and really connecting in and speaking from that space. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is correct. There are so many words that have just been, um, you know, uh, copied and borrowed and floating around social
Yeah.
media everywhere.
Bandied around. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the fact that they're all there and they're all people are recycling. It does not mean that you should recycle. What is your own? What is your own words? What is your truth? What is
Yes.
coming from this place, somewhere deep? That is what the world needs. The fact that success is trending, leadership, everybody using leadership, empowerment, and all that stuff. You don't get into the noise. Don't get lost in those things floating around. You have your own unique voice, your own unique voice. You find it. You get married to it. I call it get
Love it.
married.
Yeah. Love it.
Get married, you and your voice, tie the knots, and literally shine your light from that place in the world with the time that you have left. We haven't got a lot of time here. We
Mm.
haven't. Do you know what I mean? And so, how do you really want to spend your time that you have left? Are you giving what you have? Are you giving what you're here to give to the world? Are you? Or you're just letting all of the trending and strategies, things carrying you around? You have something to give here. And I
Mm.
think this podcast, if you haven't awakened to that thing, this podcast should take you there. Spend some time and really remember,
Yeah.
awaken to your truth and start upwriting from your truth.
That's freedom. Like when I first awakened to the realization and stopped pushing back on when I was told I'm a shaman and I was born a shaman, and when I had an experience that I went, oh, okay, I am, because I felt the weight of the difference of it. I felt the weight of the responsibility with it. But when I stopped resisting being that deepest, soulful, authentic self, that was the first time for me, Jessica, that I actually felt comfortable in my body, comfortable being me, and comfortable being a human in this environment, because that's when we're home. Did
That's
you
what
learn to
time.
speak? Did you learn, like, did you do the pathway of training to learn to be this keynote speaker? And that's a powerful question, because I'm
No.
very aligned with you in there's so much noise out there,
Yes.
so many experts, and it's so easy to get pulled into, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that, and it won't happen unless I do it. But then you
Yeah.
realize everyone's saying something different, or you feel like you're being pecked at by chickens almost. And you've
Yeah.
got to create that space, as you said, you know, all that doing, and then you sort of went in and to that being, because if we don't, and look at you up on stages, right, being brought in as a keynote speaker, having had standing ovations, and you didn't do the typical pathway where people are saying, you won't make it unless you do it this
Yes.
way or that way. And it's great to be listen to some of it, but sometimes there's things that we learn that we then have to unlearn in order to be.
That is correct. I think I don't remember attending any speakers course. I don't remember getting someone to coach me on how to write my keynote or how to speak.
Yeah.
We we have been given a gift. Our job is to give it.
Mm.
And to say that you would have to attend tertiary education or to attend Speakers Institute or what not, all of those are just, they're all surface level things. They're not important.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are again, we are teachers, we're spiritual beings. We have been prepared ready. The journey has prepared you ready.
Yeah.
And as soon as you start to feel it, get up and go. And I mean, get up and go.
Yeah. Time's
Yeah,
too short.
yeah, yeah. I remember some of the friends that I have. They will be going, "Oh, I'm getting this. I'm doing this 6 months course to get me help me write my strategic keynote. I'm trying to get this to help me get that and help me get that." And I remember there was a time I was thinking, "Huh, maybe is that important for me as well? Maybe I should start to." And then they will flick me some coaches that help people prepare this. Not to say that the coaches that are doing those things, that whatever that the things they're doing is wrong. I'm just saying sometimes a lot of the things we think we need to get started is actually not important, because I've never attended any speaker stuff, and now people are coming to me to help them craft keynote that would
Yeah.
sell.
Yeah. I feel like the
Because
key here is listen to your own inner knowing. Your soul
that's
knows
correct.
which pathway. The first
That,
coach that I took on for myself, I went against my knowing. And I was bullied. It was a repeat
ah,
of an old pattern and told that I had to be one thing or another. I'm leadership or I'm spiritual. And I'm like, well, I can't take the shaman out of anything of who and how I am. And everything that I teach or speak about or coach about or write about are all the things that healed me and empowered me along the way, right? So, I think there's that beautiful balance
yeah,
of going, but I have to listen to mine. And then there are other coaches that I've found in my rebranding coach, and they've been amazing because they've had the same gift that I feel that you and I have. Is it's like, I see your soul. I see who you are, perhaps even beyond where you see and know yourself. So I can draw that out,
yeah,
which is what I get the sense you do with your coaching, and I certainly do with my coaching.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and that's when there's the acceleration in energy. So it's vibrating at a faster hertz,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So that change takes place faster. It doesn't have to be a long, lengthy thing, but take that time
yeah.
to listen to that inner voice to find your own.
That's correct. To find
Yeah.
your, because you have one. You have one. I think my coaching with my clients is, coaching is really not about telling people what to do and how they should do it and what path they should follow. Coaching is simply just holding space for someone to explore themselves. It is just holding that space for them to really connect, to swim with their truth,
Oh, I
until
love
they
that.
get
Swim with their truth.
swim. That's correct. To swim, because the world doesn't give us opportunity to. And so in a coaching space, my coaching space is really a place where the individual get given that opportunity to dive into that swimming with
Mm,
their own truth, and until they swim and swim until they trust it, you know, they
yeah.
go, "You're right. I feel it." Because we feel it. We know it's true. And
Yeah.
then they get up and then they go. They fly off like a little bird.
Well, oh, that's so beautiful. It's because their motivation comes from within. It's not from an outer source, which means, the minute the coaching's finished or the event that you've been to and you're on the high and then you crash burn, we have to access that
Yeah,
from within, which for me is true leadership.
yeah.
So you've had the success of your book. I also read that you have a journalist background.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, I did filmmaking and journalism.
Hmm.
Um, And I think, that was all me exploring me. It's all the storytelling thing,
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought, I could present. I grew up just loving mimicking the news presenters on my screen. And when I moved here, Norelda Jacobs from Channel 10 was my favorite, then in Australia. And I remember just going, I'm going to be Norelda Jacobs here. But yeah, it's all been incredible because it's all what prepared me for all of the things that I'm doing now, like writing books becomes so easy for me. I've finished my fourth one, my third and fourth. You're one of the speakers on that day, which I'm really grateful
Oh,
for.
yes. Thank you. That was such a beautiful thing. It's really interesting, though, because
I know.
I grew up, my father was a journalist and ended up then running the newspapers, right? But he was over there with the Queen and all sorts of stuff. And then one of my brothers became a journalist. So I grew up in a household of journalism and news presenters and all sorts of things. And it's interesting that we both have that passion for writing and
Yeah,
speaking. And I was
yeah.
suppressed as well. I was told I talk too much and all the rest of it until I came to, although at school I was always asked every single Monday to read from the Bible. This is in my, you know, teenage years, to the school of about 600 so people. And I kept thinking, why do they keep picking me? Why? But I look back now going, well, that was part of your training, Kaye. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah,
then realizing I don't talk too much.
yeah.
I, I,
No,
I talk the way Kaye is born to speak. So tell us about your two books that are about to launch.
um, yes, no, I will. Speaking of talking too much, that was actually me. It just felt like we had the same, childhood growing up. I was always told to shut up,
Yeah.
and I was talking a lot. And in class, during high school, I read. I get picked to read the novels because we had literature classes, and I get up and I'm reading like this all the time. They call me in a class of 50. I get picked to read all the time. And
There's
they
these
say,
similarities, isn't
I
there?
know.
Yeah.
And they say that they love the way I read it, that I put comma. I, I dramatize it. So I don't just
Yeah.
read, like, how children just read no full stop, nothing.
Yeah.
When I'm reading it like I'm acting it out. I put the emotions into it, and the class people just get drawn.
Yeah.
So
Well, your storytelling.
that's right. It was always there. It was
Yeah.
always there.
Always there.
Yeah,
Always. So
yeah.
the two books, what a powerhouse. You know, you're not even 40 yet, and you've, created a film and won awards for that. And,
Yeah.
two more books coming out. So that this will make fourth book, will it? Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Yeah.
This will make fourth book. And film. I'm premiering on the 25th, Kay. I forgot to tell you that one. So I have my third film premiering in the next 2 weeks, to be honest. So
Is there anything else that's, I didn't know about the film? That's fantastic. So give us a quick rundown on the film and then the two books.
yeah, so it's Kayamata. It's a horror film about the Black slavery, really. Been,
Wow.
developed, took me 4 years to develop. And yeah, just excited because after the last 2 years, we've been able to shoot and have a film to show on the 25th. So there is your invite. Really
Thank you.
looking forward to seeing you there. Um, but yeah, excited. So I have two things pulling me, or three things now. The book pulls me, the film pulls me, and then my clients and speaking. They're
Yes.
all together. When people say, "Oh, I feel like you're doing many things," and be like, "Don't put me in a box. You have no right to put me in a box. I have so much inside me to
Yeah.
give, and this is my time to do it."
And you're just born that way. I'm the same. I'm the
Mm.
same. It's, quite often some people say, oh, you're given one strength, but
No.
I'm by my very nature. And when
Mm.
you get to see my house one day, incredibly eclectic. So it's the speaking and the writing and the coaching and
Yeah.
and different things that are being created, because otherwise I would be bored. if it
Right.
was just one thing.
That's correct. I get
Yeah.
bored. If you put me on film alone, I get bored. You said do the book, I get bored. I
Yeah.
have, and but they all come together. That is what I
Yeah.
know. They all come to storytelling for me. It's storytelling. In my coaching, it is storytelling. I literally look
Yes.
at individuals' life and I see the template of their life. I see what their soul is chosen. I see everything and I just help them hold the space to uncover it and they go. And that is just me being a storyteller because they're
Yeah.
coming from story, these people. Every
Yes.
person is coming from a story,
Yes.
you know, and then I help them heal because as soon as they realize what the journey has been about, then they cry, then they heal, then they forgive, then purpose starts.
I call it reweaving the tapestry.
That's right.
All those individual threads
Yeah.
and yeah, beautiful. And
Yeah.
then your two books. What are the titles of the two books that are
Oh
coming
my
out?
God, I know this is your fourth time asking. My two books. So the first one is Pieces of Me was actually
Uh-huh.
written last year and was supposed to be launched last year, but I had to hold back on it because I wanted to let it simmer more. I wanted to sit on it. And it was about death, really.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I had this fear of death growing up. And all my life, I was just running away from bodies. I didn't want to see anybody that is dead, and that was what took me away from nursing path as well. When I was
Uh-huh.
doing my practical, and then I realized that in hospital I could come across bodies
Yes.
one day, and so that was actually when I quit. But then last year, a love walked into my life, but I didn't realize that the love was also carrying death with it. And the love of my life,
Explain what you mean by that,
the
Jessica.
love of my life walked
Yeah.
into my life, and just few months in, his 16-year-old died in a car accident.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So I was caught between run away from this relationship and lose the love of your life or confront this death, this body now. And so the journey literally triggered something in me where I had to hold his hands to go see his 16-year-old who has passed in a car
Had
accident
you carried that fear of death all
all
your
my,
life?
all my life.
Mm.
So this book really is about me explore confronting my fear and what I find or what I found at the end of that. It
Yeah.
was about my reflection on my journey, my experience with what I witnessed. It was about me realizing that just getting the new definition of death. I
Yes.
realized that death and birth, they're simply the opposite of each other. The birth is a transport system where the soul comes into the body. The birth transports the soul into the body, and death takes the soul out of the body back into spirit. So it is as simple as that,
Mm-hmm.
one coin of different sides.
Yes.
And so pieces of me was that. And then the other one, your true voice, is about voice. It's about um, our journey and the template of life that I realized that I saw after my own journey and seeing the template of my own life and how everything was orchestrated, along with listening to countless women share their stories and see how theirs echoes mine.
Yeah.
I realize that there is a simple template here that is working in our own lives. And so your true voice is where I get to put that template out. Um,
Oh, that looks beautiful, Jessica. Yeah.
yeah, I get to put the template for people to follow, to see their own life and to be able to awaken to their own individual voice,
Yeah.
so that they can begin their purpose and leadership journey. And so my two books that I'm launching are connected in a way.
Yeah.
Um, my mission before was about telling people about the fact that they have a purpose here to actualize. But after the death of, the little boy, the 16-year-old boy, I saw how quick life can be. And so my mission was, moved from just simply telling people you have a purpose to, hey, you have a purpose and time is short for it.
And we don't know when that end time is. So
We don't.
let's live.
I had a pizza with this boy just a week or two before this happened. So
Yeah.
I realized how quick it is. And
Yeah.
so my two books that I'm launching is really about my reflection and journey of healing, and to help other people see their own life and heal and awaken to their own voice while they're still here, so that
Beautiful.
they can
And
move with
these
purpose.
books, will they be available on Amazon or, yeah?
Absolutely. They
Yeah.
will be on Amazon. And yeah, as soon as after the launch. So we have the
Yeah.
launch coming up first weekend of October,
4th and 5th.
4th and 5th.
And this episode will be out before then. So if anyone's listening and you're in Western Australia, come along. You can either reach out to me or reach out to Jessica, because we're going to have your details in the bottom
Yeah.
of the description, and find out how they can connect with you and how they can come and be a part of this incredible launch,
Yeah.
and meet you in person and really get to just experience your energy and your presence and the whole vibe. And it's going to be surrounded by crystals and
And incredible speakers like yourself. So honored really to have you ladies, because this journey, as I said, our journeys are similar. And it is not enough just hearing it from one person. And this was where I thought, I have incredible women such as yourself who can give voice, who can give their own perspective on this. And what a beautiful way, and a beautiful gift to give to the audience, and to help them find meaning in their own life, understand their own journey, and heal. It is such an honor, really, to be having your voice there on that day. So,
well, I'm honoured to have been invited after a quick connect, and to be there and present and collaborating with you amazing women, and meeting the others, and to be a support for you. I'm such an advocate already for what you're doing. So we will have all the details at the bottom of the description, where they can contact you, get your book,
yeah,
watch your films.
yeah,
And if they feel drawn to being coached by you, then they'll be able to reach out for anything and everything. And so the podcast is Inner Voice of Knowing. Clearly, you've already said that you feel aligned with that, and we've spoken about that. So what's the one message, the final impact that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
my one message for your listeners today is that they have a voice, they have their own voice inside them, and they know it.
Mm.
That is the inner voice of knowing. They are aware, they know that there is something about them. And so you have a voice and you know it. And what I want to leave with you today is to get up, explore it, trust it, use it.
Yeah.
Don't hold back any longer, because we haven't got forever here.
Powerful. So many blessings, Jessica. I could just sit and speak with you for ages. We're going to have to get together and do a lunch or something at some stage.
Absolutely. This spring, you and I are catching up and we're going to full spring together.
Well, I honor you and I celebrate you, and I thank you for giving us your time and sharing what you've shared in the way that you've shared it. And for those that are listening on the podcast platforms, I'm going to be putting the video of the whole podcast on YouTube. So after you've just sat and listened, and I quite often say to people with powerful episodes, close your eyes and really listen and feel and receive, and then go to YouTube and watch. Thank you so much. So appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what comes next for Jessica Bailey.
Thank you so much, Kaye. I really do appreciate your time today and what you do, the incredible work you do. There are so many podcasters out there, but after my experience with you today, I know for sure that you are a spiritual being and you were called for this. So thank you for getting my heart, for going deep. I didn't go deep. You went there. You took me there. You went deep with me and you got something that is vital out. I am grateful for your space. And I want to say, keep doing the incredible work that you're doing. You're very unique at it.
Thank you. Join me on my next episode. And if you love this podcast, please subscribe by clicking on the plus button if you're on Apple, or like and follow on Spotify, rate and review. And please share Inner Voice of Knowing with your friends.